Hello and welcome back folks to another exciting video. Today we've got a lost gem in store for you. Or should I say a forgotten gem that had all of us fans demanding more, yet we never got it. Well, I'm not going to beat around the bush anymore and just head for what is in the spotlight today. I'm talking about Green Lantern, the animated series. For starters, if you were a fan of the animation coming from the DC side of comics in 2011 and 2012, I'll bet on the fact that you felt something special when you watched the likes of Young Justice and the Green Lantern animated series on Cartoon Network. Both of them were creative and ambitious and carried a mature sense of storytelling with them. On one hand, we had Young Justice, which was a smarter rendition of having a superhero faction with teenagers. And on the other hand, there came Green Lantern, the animated series.
What can I say about this one? Because this right here is one of the greatest superhero cartoons ever made. Without a doubt, critically acclaimed and beloved amongst the fans, this had stories of Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps told in a way never done before. This was quality TV and had built a cult-like fan base. Yet, in October 2012, Cartoon Network pulled the rug out from under such an ambitious project. It was a truly shocking call for both the makers and the fans. All it got was just one season, but why? And that's what today's video is going to be about. The whys and whats and hows and all the context needed for you to get the hang of the whole picture. So sit back, buckle up, and allow me to welcome you to WTF Happened to Green Lantern the Animated Series. Without any further ado, let's get right into it, shall we? Alright, so first things first, we begin with the content, the what side of things. As I mentioned earlier, due to my admiration for the show, I do have to warn you that I will be doing so repeatedly throughout this video. Trust me, it's that good. Showrunners Giancarlo Volpe and Jim Krieg teamed up with producer Bruce Timm, who's a legend himself, responsible for producing the iconic Batman the Animated Series, as well as Superman the Animated Series. These three were the brains behind the genius of Green Lantern the Animated Series. On November 11th, 2011, we got an hour-long sneak peek of the show and had to wait till March 3rd of the next year to start with its serialized regular run. And from the get-go, it felt special. Surprisingly, a lot of fans thought this show was entirely done in CGI, an idea straight out of Bruce Timm's brain. Apparently, he wanted to do so since the stories of Green Lantern here involved a lot of space travel and cosmic warfare as such, and in executing such a massive scale, he leaned towards CGI, rather than going for a traditional 2D animation approach. But that didn't change the fact that you could still spot Timm's signature style and visual language in this, which was so universally admired in Batman the Animated Series in the first place. Clean character designs, stylish visuals, enhanced character emotions, and tagged with deep sights of space, alien worlds, and most importantly, large-scale lantern constructs. You pretty well had it all. Something like this was never done before by DC, and never since. On top of that, it was even more brilliant when you brought in really strong writing as well. But what is the show about? Well, we follow Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern of Sector 2814, along with him his loyal partner in Kilowog, as the duo operate in the frontier of Guardian space, which is a bit far from the main territory of the Corps. In Season 1, again, the only season had the two pitted against the Red Lanterns, led by Atrocitus, and this lot happened to be a similarly functioning Corps, but one powered only by rage. Other than them, our protagonists were also fighting the Manhunters, the robotic predecessors to the Green Lantern Corps, who were responsible for committing genocide due to faulty programming. Now here's the part that I think makes the show amazing. It is that the whole season is serialized. The next episode doesn't hit a reset button, and rather builds on the previous one. I can't believe this was even considered a children's cartoon, considering how well packaged everything about this seems when you look back at it. Other than that, what connected the fans so much were fan favourite characters. Some of them were even original creations. One of my favourites was a Red Lantern called Razor. He started as an alien warrior, but his arc moved his character such that it made fans emotionally resonate with him. We understood him and his rage, and because he had lost his wife, that rage only added fuel to his powers. But over the course of the season, we see slow, yet really interesting changes in his character. We even meet the Interceptor named Aya, the holographic AI of that team's spaceship in this process. She herself was created as a mere weapon, but went on to develop a consciousness of her own, and these emotions had her fall in love with Razor, who had sidelined his rage and started caring for her too. The two shared a loving relationship, and by the time we reach the season finale, you'd be amazed at how this show managed to get the audience invested in a love story between a CGI robot and a rage-powered alien. It's crazy, I know, and a bit too much quality, you gotta admit, to be considered just a Saturday morning cartoon. From the zenith of the show, how did the beginning of the end come about? Well, to get that, again, I reiterate, context is key, and one word to describe it all would be funding. Yes, the show's funding, and once you understand that, it'll make perfect sense moving forward. So anyway, most animated series, including Green Lantern, the animated series, got a solid chunk of their funding through merchandise, and particularly toy sales. Cartoon Network then teamed up with toy giant Mattel to launch a toy line for this series too, considering many animated shows were produced in the first place with toy sales in mind. Hilariously, I don't think it would be an exaggeration to even say that these shows were like long commercials for the toys as well, but Mattel now decided to come up with a plan to bundle up the animated series toys with the merchandise of the 2011 live-action Green Lantern movie, which starred Ryan Reynolds. Keep in mind that the show and the movie were totally different in continuity, creative teams, and separate canons altogether, but for the casual customers, they were both Green Lantern products. This is where things seriously began to crumble for them. The live-action film bombed horribly at the box office. Critics and audiences mutually agreed upon describing this movie as lackluster, but this movie's failure resulted in retailers doing what they usually do with flops, which is getting the merchandise off the shelves. All of it, the stores didn't bother distinguishing, and as a result, after stopping the orders for the merchandise, they went on to wipe the whole Green Lantern line away, which, if you remember, did also include the toys from the beloved cartoon series too. In an interview with IGN, the voice of Hal Jordan from the same show, Josh Keaton, explained, "From what I've heard, the performance of the movie made it so there were a lot of movie toys still in stores, and so the stores didn't necessarily differentiate between some being movie toys and others being animated series toys. They just said, Green Lantern, we already have those, and so because of that, a toy line wasn't even made, and because a toy line wasn't made, we really didn't have the funding to go on in that sense, because a lot of funding is tied to that. I couldn't explain it any better. This is the whole mechanism of how things worked. It makes you feel for those who were behind the animated series because they had a really successful out-of-the-box show with them with season 1, but getting a totally unrelated live-action movie released on the same character you've made a show about, which went on to bomb so hard, had tragic consequences since it ended up smearing dirt on everything related to Green Lantern at the time. And guess what happened after that? Yep, they ceased to financially support the animated series. So yeah, just one season and that's it. Following that came the blackout. On the 13th of October in 2012, Cartoon Network pulled the plug on Green Lantern the animated series as well as Young Justice, which I mentioned in the beginning. It was abrupt and shocking to say the least. I'd add the word unfair as well here. The whole DC block on Cartoon Network was pretty much shut down for the time being from the channel's broadcast. However, the fans didn't stay quiet. There was immediate outrage over this decision, so much so that a showrunner from each of the two shows, with Giancarlo Volpe from Green Lantern the animated series and Greg Weisman, went on to individually address those fans on their social media, yet neither of them had an explanation for the network's decision to do so. After 3 months of staying off the air, Green Lantern the animated series had its remaining few episodes aired, but at this point it just felt like pity, as if they were only clearing their closet. Cartoon Network put a full stop on both of those shows when they announced their 2013-14 lineup, and neither of their names was present, and that's it. The show was done and dusted. Now, upon hearing the story up until now, if you're disappointed with how things turned out, wait till you hear the part ahead. That is just going to frustrate you, I must warn you of that. Anyway, Green Lantern the animated series went down, but it took Young Justice with it too, another show that built up a cult-like fanbase that was artistically and narratively brilliant and also well received by the critics. But with the release of the live-action Green Lantern movie, which had toy stars sweep all Green Lantern toys from their shelves, they also happened to have cleared the Young Justice stock as well. That is just ridiculous. Green Lantern the animated series itself was not related to the movie, but to an extent, I understand how any miscommunication or misunderstanding may have led them to get shelved. But Young Justice is a completely different toy line altogether. Following that, Mattel cancelled their whole DC toy line at the time. You would have to be kidding me to be telling me that two of the most ambitious animated Cartoon Network shows from DC Comics of this century happened to get discontinued simply because their animation funding model went on to eat itself. Why would a fan at the time not get angry at this? It's the worst possible ending the two shows could have thought of. We lost two creative gems for sure, but what exactly did we lose them, narratively speaking? Well, the season finale of Green Lantern the animated series was emotionally devastating to watch, and basically sealed the whole season in a way that would ask the creators to reopen it when they would have restarted for the next season. However, here's a fun bit. Since the cancellation, the production team and the fan retrospectives have discussed and revealed certain key aspects of what Season 2 was going to have. Comments from Giancarlo Volpe and leaked concept art suggested the introduction of one of the most powerful cosmic villains in DC Comics, the Anti-Monitor, into the mix, and to have him be the central antagonist of Season 2. To the ones that aren't familiar with him, the Anti-Monitor also happened to be the one behind Crisis on Infinite Earths in the comics lore. I'm sure the comic fans know what I'm talking about. Anyway, other than him, there was Razor, who was to go on a universal search looking for Aya, who apparently sacrificed herself to stop the Manhunter army. I'm assuming this was to be the arc of a more hopeful Razor than the rage-fueled one from Season 1. I say that because the final shot of Season 1 showed a Blue Lantern ring which, in itself, is powered by hope, following Razor as he flew off into deep space. So, maybe a transformation into a Blue Lantern was one of the major subplots in the cards. And alongside that, the story between Razor and Aya also never had a follow-up, ever again. Even in 2022, in Season 4 of Young Justice, when Razor showed up as a guest character, the writer intervened right away and made the distinction clear that this was a different iteration of the character altogether. Alas, their love story may have kick-started, but did it continue to bloom ever after? We'll never know. So, that's all from my side for this one. Where do we stand now, you may wonder? Well, the cult-like fanbase is still active and reminiscent of the Green Lantern the animated series, with many new fans joining in the mix, and obviously going on to admire it because why wouldn't they? Interestingly, Young Justice, which ran and got cancelled alongside this one, had a bit of a revival with Young Justice Outsiders in 2019 and ran for multiple seasons. So, not to boost any of your hopes, but to the passionate and most importantly, an active fanbase like this one, never say never, I guess. But realistically speaking, as of 2026, we've got nothing on that one. But as far as the character goes, James Gunn's new DCU is on track to release a brand new and fresh live-action Green Lantern series titled Lanterns, slated for release on the 16th of August, later this year, which features Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in the mix, played by Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre, respectively. After Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner Green Lantern appeared in last year's Superman, this TV series right here seems really promising. Be sure to check out the official teasers for Lanterns and shower it with love, while also never keeping your foot off the pedal for a possible Green Lantern the animated series revival, just like how Young Justice got one. As I mentioned earlier, never say never. And that's pretty much it for this video, folks. Talk about ambition, and I bring to you the creation of Green Lantern the animated series. Talk about tragedy, and I bring to you the continuation of Green Lantern the animated series. Now, as always, if you enjoyed watching this, be sure to give it a like, share it with your friends, and let me know in the comments section your thoughts regarding Green Lantern the animated series. How did you like it? How did you react to such an abrupt cancellation of this successful show? And also, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Lanterns project? I can't wait to read your answers and what you have to say. Finally, please subscribe to Marvelous Videos for more such content. Until next time, take care and ciao!